Hola, hola, it is Fabi here, and today I want to talk about something that happened literally this month that I think every single expert, coach, consultant, and basically professional service provider really needs to understand, because Google just announced something at the biggest advertising event of the year. And when I read it, I literally put my phone down and I stared at the wall for a few seconds. Not because it was scary, but because I feel like it's the single most important validation of everything that I've been teaching and talking about literally for the past 10 years. And if you don't understand what it means for your brand right now, you're going to be completely invisible. Not to humans, but to the AI that's going to be making purchasing decisions on their behalf. So stay with me for a second, because this right here is literally going to change absolutely everything. So let's talk about what Google announced. This is the era of agentic commerce. AI agents acting on behalf of your customers, making purchasing decisions for them from discovery to research to checkout. So your customer asks the AI agent for the recommendation. The agent is going to compare different options. It's going to read your content, scan your brand, and pick one. And then it's going to hand them an answer. They never saw your ad. They never clicked on the link. They never read your landing page. The AI decided which brand to bring to them. Now, here's the question that everybody is asking. Well, how do I get AI to choose me? And here is why most people are going to answer that question from a completely wrong place. So I'm going to walk you through 3 things today that you need to focus on instead. What actually happened, what it actually means, and the very specific things that you need to have in place so that when AI is scanning your category, you become the undeniable answer. So let's start with what Google announced. Let's walk you in through it, because I think that this is really important that you understand it in a very clear way. So the traditional marketing funnel works like this. Somebody has a problem, they go looking for a solution, they find maybe your content, your ad, your website, your webinar, they're consuming your content, they're making a decision, and then they buy. So every step of that funnel, you had the opportunity to influence them. Google just told the ad buying world that a new player is entering the funnel before the human even opens up a browser. So their AI agent is doing the discovery basically for them. It is doing research, it's comparing different options, and it's handing the human a recommendation. Now, mind you, the interesting thing is that literally yesterday I had this happen for me. I was looking for something, AI gave me an option, and I booked a call with that company. So it basically, for you, what this means, it's like if every single one of your potential clients suddenly hired a personally shopping assistant, and that assistant did all of the research before the client ever heard your name. The assistant is reading your reviews, it's scanning your website, it looks for your content, pattern matches your brand against what the client asked for, all of it, right? And then it either says this one or it moves on, which is literally what happened to me yesterday. You never got the chance to convince anybody. The decision was already made. Now, the lesson for you here is that the funnel is not dying necessarily, but it's being outsourced in a way. And there's a new gatekeeper in town, and it's not a human that can necessarily be persuaded. It is an algorithm that needs to find you, understand you, and categorize you in milliseconds. Now, here's where I want you to really pay a lot of attention, because this is the part that most people are going to be getting really wrong in this. Everybody out there, you're going to see a lot of this, is going to start talking about AI SEO and bot optimization and new technical checklists. And those things exist, but they're not really the root problem. The root problem here for most people is going to be brand clarity. So let me give you an analogy. Like, imagine that you're a librarian and somebody walks in and says, well, I need a book about recovering from burnout for high achieving executives who maybe don't want to slow down right now. So what you're going to do is you're going to go walk to a very specific shelf and you're going to pull out a very specific book, ideally if you're a good librarian, right? Now, not because necessarily the book was louder than the others, and not because it had the biggest spine or it looked prettier or it looked better or whatever, but because it was very clearly about that exact thing, from the title to the description to every single chapter inside. Now imagine the shelf is full of books that all say personal development on the spine and nothing else. So that librarian has no idea which one to pull, and they're going to pick the one that has been there the longest, or the one with the most reviews, or they're just going to basically guess. Ultimately, that is what AI agents are going to be doing when they try to recommend you. So if your brand says, well, I help coaches build a life that they love, you essentially literally are becoming the personal development book with no spine title. You are ungroupable, unrecommendable. But if your brand says, I help attorneys at boutique law firms attract corporate clients without cold outreach, the librarian is going to know exactly where you have to go. So the lesson for you here that is really important for you to understand is that AI agents can't recommend what they don't categorize, and they can't categorize what is not specific. So now let's get practical, because the question isn't, is this real? The question is, well, what do I actually do with it? There are ultimately 3 things that you need to understand right now. And I want to be very clear. These are not new things, right? These are the things that in my world, I've been teaching for the last 10 years, essentially. And the Agentic era just made them more urgent for everybody out there. So the first thing that you need to know is that you need to own your category, not compete in one. You need to literally own it. So AI agents are not going to recommend a good option. They're going to recommend an authority on a very specific thing. So your angle of mastery is ultimately what's going to create that. It is the root cause that only you can name. The thing that you see that other people are missing, the framework that is yours and only yours. Because when an AI scans your space and you have a name methodology, a very specific perspective, a proprietary way of solving a problem, well, it's going to match you with the right person. Again, literally this happened to me yesterday. AI recommended something really specific because it said, based on what I'm seeing here, this is the person that you need to hire. So category defining positioning is not a branding preference anymore. It is discoverability infrastructure. The second thing that you need to know is that you have to be very consistent across every single touch point out there. AI agents are not just going to be reading your website, they're reading your LinkedIn, your podcast description, your YouTube channel, your bio on every guest episode that you've ever recorded, your email opt-in page. If you sound like 5 different people, depending on where you are, AI is not going to build a coherent picture of who you are. It can't recommend someone it can't clearly define. So this is really important. The experts who wins are the ones that stay the same and say the same thing in the same way with the same language everywhere, consistently over time. This, my friend, right now is not repetition anymore. This is what brand architecture actually looks like. The third thing that you need is very specific, concrete language, not clever, vague language. And this is really big because so many experts that I have been taught to lead with aspirational language, like step into your potential, build the life you deserve, transform your business. But that language doesn't mean anything to an AI agent. So it has no searchable edges there. It matches no specific query. But if you're saying, I help mid-career professionals transition into board advisory roles in the next 90 days, that is very specific. It is concrete. It is pattern matchable to somebody that's researching that specific thing. So essentially, the more specific that your language is, the more findable that you're going to become to algorithms and to humans, obviously. So the lesson here is that the brands that wins in the agentic era are not the biggest or the loudest. They're the ones that are the most specific, the most consistent, and the most clearly themselves at every single touch point. So here's what I really want you to take away from this episode. Google announced that AI agents are going to start making purchasing decisions basically for humans. I just shared with you that I literally went through this yesterday. So before a client ever opens a browser, AI is going to give you a recommendation. So what I want you to understand is that the strategy for winning in this new era is the same strategy that we've been talking about literally for a decade. Brand categories, brand clarity, category ownership, specific language, consistent positioning across every single touch point. The only thing that changed here is the urgency, but because before, vague positioning just meant slower growth, fewer referrals, lower conversion rates maybe, but now vague positioning means that an AI is going to scan your brand, find nothing specific to grab onto, and move on to the next option. So your brand clarity is now an algorithm requirement. It is not a creative preference anymore. So the real question is not, how do I optimize for AI agents? The real question is, when an AI is scanning your brand right now, anywhere and everywhere, is it undeniably clear what you do, who it is for, why you're different, and why nobody else is doing this in the exact same way that you are? If the answer is anything less than a hard yes, that is the work that you need to be really focusing on right now. And that is exactly the work that we do and what we focus on. So if this episode landed for you, the next step for you is for you to book a 15-minute brand message assessment with me. This is a call where in those 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what your brand looks like from the outside and how to make sure that you're communicating what you do in a way that is clear, that is differentiated, that makes AI find you, recommend you to the humans that are searching right now. Go to brandmessagesession.com, or you're going to find the link underneath this episode to book your spot right now. And if you got value from this episode, please share this one with an expert, a friend, or somebody else out there who really needs to hear this right now. Because my friends, this is not a trend. This is the shift that we all need to focus on right now. Make sure you follow me at Fabi Paolini everywhere, and you subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. I'll see you next episode. Bye.